Hey, what's good, what's good, what's good? Welcome to Reflections of a DJ, the R.O.A.D podcast presented by DJ City and Beat Source. I'm one of your hosts, DJ Crooked. We got DJ Never here.
Yo, what up?
We got Jamie the Great.
Yeah.
We got DJ D Miles.
What up?
You see how I switched it up a little bit?
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
I almost
like
spoke
that?
prematurely. I was like,
I was like, you're sure?
Anyway, we got a special guest by the East Coast, the DMV's finest. I've known this dude for a long time. And when I started DJing in DC, I linked up with him, and I haven't seen you in a long fucking time. But it's good to see you. We got DJ Phlipz in the building.
yes,
What up?
sir.
What's
What's
good?
up, fellas?
man?
Happy to be here.
Yeah. When did we meet? I was going to DC to do Park, right? Mark Barnes's nightclub.
Right. So we were doing the Asian night on Saturdays. So that was I would do like 2 Saturdays a month. Then they brought you in, and then there was another DJ from home that they would have the other Saturday.
Oh yeah. So you were doing every Saturday, and then I would do one Saturday a month. Was that it?
Right. So I'd be like every other, and then you'd fill in one of those.
Right.
Through I think Julie.
Yeah.
Right.
Shout
yeah,
to Jules.
yeah.
Shout to Jules. Yeah.
So it was dope. I mean, it was mainly Asian, but that party was popping. Now
It was weird because it was like half Asian and then like a half a black crowd.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
right.
it was like black and Asian just mixed, just popping bottles and
Right.
down.
So the first 2 floors would probably be black, and then the 3rd and 4th floor would be the Asian crowd. But then you obviously get your mix.
Right. So then so on Saturdays we should describe the Park, right? It's like what,
4 floors?
Is it 4? Or
Yeah, it's
3 floors?
4.
Is it 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
And I
4
think
floors.
2 of the floors were like connected. Am I wrong? Or is it?
Right. So on the first 2 floors, the 2nd floor could look over the
Right,
first
right,
floor, and then same thing on the 3rd and 4th. The 4th floor can kind of look over
Right. You're right.
the 3rd.
Yeah. And it was split up. I mean, it was basically like a townhouse, converted townhouse or something, right?
Restaurant as well, right?
Yeah. Food was bomb.
Yeah.
And then I would go there every month. I forgot the years that I went there, but it was around the 2000s.
Like it was like
2010s.
2010.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2010s.
Yeah.
And I'd go there and I'd be playing like EDM for like the Korean, like the Asian crowd. And then I'd play like hip hop and dance hall.
Right.
The
You
black crowd.
could play whatever.
Yeah.
Like everyone was getting down. It was such a fun party.
Yeah. It was like a big mesh.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. And Mark Barnes, shout out to Mark Barnes. I haven't seen him in a minute, but
Yeah. I think the last time
Yeah.
I saw him was when I was in DC. Oh no. I think the last time I saw him was at the Scam.
Yeah, he came through.
birthday
Yeah,
party.
he came
Maybe
through.
like New York.
Yeah, it was
2016.
years
Oh,
ago.
wow.
Years ago. Yeah, he
a
came
while
through
ago.
for like Suj's birthday. Like
Wow.
got to be like 6 years ago.
Yeah, so I think
more
it was
than that. Yeah.
2016.
But he's a legend in DC and the DMV, right?
Right.
Mike
So
Barnes.
for me, when I first started in DC, I was working for Panorama, and they're actually still like big in DC. Like they have multiple clubs.
It's a big promotion group, right?
Right. So when I came home, I started doing events for them, and that's when I got one of my first residencies, and it was at Dream, which was Mark Barnes'
Legendary club,
Right. So I would do like Thursdays nights because
That's the club I couldn't, not to cut you off, that's the
it's
club
all
I
good.
couldn't think about. I think we were talking last time, and I was like, what was that mega club that Diddy, I thought Diddy owned it, but he was just always there.
Right.
It was Dream. I couldn't think of that shit. Go ahead.
So Dream, I had a Thursday night residency because pretty much on the weekends it was more hip hop. Thursday night was like the big like international night, and I was the first floor guy, so I was people would come in. I'd essentially be like the opener for the rest of the club, but I've obviously had to play the whole night. But that's how I got to know Mark, and he always for the most part always believed in me. So like when he changed it over to Love, I was a resident there too on the Thursday nights. For the weekend nights, I was doing other venues, but it was definitely legendary club. But I think just like like in other cities, sometimes a lot of stuff transferred over to like lounges and the smaller venues throughout DC.
It's weird because like I never really saw white people at the club when I did Park.
Right.
It was like Asian and black and like maybe a sprinkling of Latin, but not very many.
Right.
Latin.
That Park was definitely one or the other.
Yeah. And then it was like almost no white people.
Yeah.
Like no white people popping bottles. There's no tables
Right.
of bottles. Like it was like no white people existed.
If there were, it's because there was like a private event before like night.
No, I never
the
saw
nighttime.
them.
Right.
I never saw them.
That's the only time really I did. I mean,
Yeah.
But I think people just kind of knew that was the place to go. Like if you were like in that Asian realm or black
Yeah.
realm.
But it was like only Asians and black people in DC want to pop bottles. It was like that was in my head. That's what I was thinking. I was
Yeah.
like, no other race in this city wants to pop bottles except Asians
Yeah.
and black people. And then I was like, where
It's
all
so funny.
And I was like, where do all the white people go? And they're like, they just go to these dive bars in Georgetown.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and that's wrong. That's wrong.
Is
There's-
it wrong?
Yeah, that's definitely wrong. I mean, there's definitely so many other, like Panorama, like I said, they've been around for so long. The venues that I would play at, like, this is like 2005 era, like Chloe Play was definitely like the open format. That's when like kind of mashups were like really like big. And then Eden, 1223, then that became like, you know, they've all changed over the past like 15 years, selling clubs. But all of them, like the nightlife in DC is amazing. I mean, the white people do definitely go out, but then you have I guess a smorgasbord of like all nationalities.
Because it's DC.
Right, because it's DC. So whether it's like, I don't know, Arabic people, Persian people, like that's very big. Like I played at a place in Arlington, Clarendon called Darna, where like I had to mix, EDM, hip hop, and then Arabic, Latin, Persian music. And, it's dope because it was definitely a challenge, but the way you get to go from a hip hop song to a Persian song back to something else, it's definitely like helped train to like play, for other events that I would do. But there's definitely like a huge bottle popping scene. I will definitely say the black parties are definitely like the ones that are like really popping off though.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the ones that bring in the celebrities and
The athletes.
athletes, any athlete that's in town.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, especially like when I started going out there, that's when Obama became president.
Yeah, that was
So then
a
that's
crazy
when, like,
time.
It was just like, it was crazy.
Yeah, the first time I ever played in DC was actually '08 homecoming.
oh, okay.
And then it was Park, and then literally the year Obama became president.
Yeah.
And I think every Washington Redskin, every Baltimore Raven,
Right.
every Washington Wizard, they were all at Park at once.
Wow.
It was insane. I remember it was like Clinton Portis. It was the who's who of like sports in DC was there. It was insane.
Yeah, I didn't know any sports. Athletes, so
It's all good.
But yeah, that was fun times.
It was.
And then I think it just changed. Like EDM started getting phased out a little bit in the music scene. And then, and then everything just kind of changed and stuff. I don't know what happened to the city. I wasn't going there as much. And maybe there wasn't as much. I don't know, like what happened with the scene?
I think a lot of places were opening and a lot of people were getting like, spread out. What I was talking with you guys earlier before we got on was like, there's definitely pockets everywhere within Virginia and Maryland where they all have DJs too. So pretty much people would just like, why do I have to go to DC if I can just go down the street? Because that place has a DJ.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Because I do remember when I was DJing, like motherfuckers from VA, from Virginia would like come all the way down.
Right.
And it was a trek, right? It was.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've been in Virginia, pretty much my whole life. I just would always work in DC. Like all my club gigs were always in DC. But then like over the past 10 years, even myself, I saw a transition to like a mix of both DC and Virginia, just because the area I was telling you about, Clarendon, it's literally like all bars owned by like a lot of my friends. So they wanted all of us to like kind of stay in Virginia essentially. And that's where a lot of people, it's like, why would we go to DC when we can get, the dope DJs here in Virginia?
Right. So you just started DJing more in Virginia then after that?
Right. I mean, I tried to keep a balance of both, just depending on the night. Like in Thursday nights, I would probably be in DC more often.
So like club scene wise, what's the difference between like Virginia and like DC? DC is like more like what, Manhattan? And like Virginia is more like Brooklyn? Do you know what I mean?
Right. I would say DC's more like you'll get your people that are really dressing up nice.
Right.
More. Well, man, they're all changing now though. The bottles are, where you get the girls bringing out the
servers
bottles.
with the sparklers,
all that stuff. Yeah. But they're all doing it in Virginia now too.
Right.
I haven't seen it too much in the Maryland venues, like the bars and stuff. But like that Clarendon area, like they're popping off. Like you can get bottles in Virginia now. So
I get it. So like more in the last 5 years, you've been probably working more in Virginia more than DC, and like the scene just kind of shifted a little bit, right?
Right. And for me, like once.
Does that mean like I'm assuming you DJ more for like an Asian crowd, or am I wrong?
No,
you DJ for everybody.
Everyone, open format.
Okay.
I
just know you because we did the Asian part.
Right. No, I've always been like.
So I'm like, are Asians not going?
So funny.
So are Asians not going out in DC anymore? You know?
No,
what I'm
they
saying?
are. But like I said, there's just so many places to go that like everyone's kind of getting split up.
Right.
Like all nationalities, everyone's getting split up. Like you can go anywhere and you'll see everyone, like all types of nationalities at every bar.
Got
or club.
it.
What's the distance between Virginia and DC?
I mean, you just cross a bridge.
45 minutes?
No. I mean, I live 45 minutes from DC, but like Clarendon is like literally 10 minutes from DC.
I never realized it was so close together.
Oh, they're literally next to each other. But like the area that I'm talking about is more, I mean, maybe like 5-10 minutes across the bridge from Georgetown.
Yeah.
It's right there. So if you want, so here's the thing. So DC closes at 3, VA closes at 2. So essentially, if you're like, want to go out and keep partying when VA is about to close, a lot of my friends go to DC.
And then on Saturdays, they stay open later or some shit.
Friday and Saturdays are 3 a.m. Holiday weekends, they'll stay open till 4.
Yeah. I remember that shit.
Right.
Oh, man, that shit was like mad fun. I remember back in the day. Man.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And it was dope because it was like, it was closer to the East Coast. Because I mostly played, you know, obviously in Vegas and stuff. So I get to play like more dancehall. More like New York hip hop shit worked.
Yeah.
And Philly, like a lot of Philly shit would go off and stuff like that. Yeah, I miss that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the places that I play at with the, you know, the DJs that I came up with, like luckily we've been able to like kind of train our crowds to where we can still get away with a lot of like old stuff, new stuff we like.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And now
music wise.
Yeah. And now you're like a Twitch DJ, right?
Yeah.
Do you still juggle some club joints?
So right now I probably do like maybe one a month. Just because, you know, with Twitch, you know, luckily I was able to pivot there during COVID and, you know, essentially.
You're like, so like, you know, there's a bunch of shit that leaked on from Twitch,
right? No, I know.
So the Twitch, like somehow, I don't know, some report came out or there was a code or the access code where motherfuckers could access the top earners
right.
of Twitch.
Twitch got hacked like 2 or 3 months ago.
Right.
And someone released
like the top earners from gamers
right.
to, I don't know, hot tub girls and all of this shit, right?
Right.
And then like, I guess in the top 10 or top 20?
I want to say the top 10.
In the top 10, right?
10, yeah.
So there's definitely other DJs above me that weren't included.
Right. No. So wait, there's like at the top was Franzen who made like 400,000.
Right.
And then it went to like Angie V, Four Color Zach, Bella Fiasco.
Right.
And then you were in like the top 10. There was DJ Phlipz. And DJ Phlipz made more than Scratch Bastard. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And so then Scratch Bastard was at 88,000 or something.
Right.
And then Phlipz was at like 103,000 or something, 105,000.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were like the top earner and shit. You was caking off on Twitch.
I wish,
still is.
I wish I could say that. I mean,
How accurate was that report?
I would say like gross wise, probably accurate, but
So that number was before Twitch's cut?
no, I guess that's what they would send me.
That's your deposit.
Right. No, so Twitch already took their cut. That's what they sent me
okay.
to my direct deposit.
Right.
But what's crazy is like, you know, every channel is different. Like a lot of that got boosted a little bit because, you know, I've always, you know, believed that you have to invest in yourself to make things happen. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So a lot of the money, because I was at home, I felt like, you know, if a lot of these people are supporting me, I need to give back to the channel, and you know, I would gift out subs myself to the channel just to kind of grow it as much as I could. Once I realized,
Gift out to your followers.
correct, and you know, try to find, you know,
They'd have to earn it, or you just what?
no, you can go on and gift 5 subs to just random people.
Okay.
You can gift out 20 subs, 100 subs, whatever.
You get a sub.
Exactly. So if there were nights like, say, like my birthday stream, like last year, like popped off, right? I turned around and reinvested all that back into the channel. Because, you know, a lot of people, you know, streamers don't realize, like, let's say if you want to grow your channel a little bit, you can gift back to your channel, but you get half of it back because it's a gifted sub, but it's your money. So that's kind of why I think it's a little boosted up. I would probably, you know, to be honest, I'd probably say I was probably in like that 70, 80 range because I did put money of my own back into the channel. So that's why it looks like it's a little bit more, but I'm not complaining. Even if it was 70 to 80, whatever, like.
So you're like a label who's boosting their sales a little bit, right?
A little bit, because
You're buying streams.
I kind of realized, like, once I was home and how much fun it was, I was able to figure out like how to just have fun on it. And I have a following. Like I said, I could be home. I don't got to drive anywhere. That's like one of the big things is like, in 20 years, I was just driving back and forth between gigs. And, like at 3, 4 a.m. in the morning, it drains you. Like you start to think about things and you're like, how do I still love doing this? Like I was telling Neva earlier, it was like telling some of my friends, like, you know DJ Rise, right?
Yeah.
So I was telling Rise
Shout to Rise.
Right. And I was telling some of them, like right before COVID happened, like I'd be at their gigs and I would be like, man, you guys are next. Like, cause like I was essentially like doing everything as much as possible as I could and running the rat race of like, having my own gigs, booking DJs at other venues, doing private events, doing weddings, doing, photo booths. And it was just draining, You're
just doing a lot, right?
So much. And like, I was essentially like the point person for everything.
Yeah. But it's not only that, it's not like you were delegating, you were moving everything too. It's like you were part of the labor as well.
Right.
So wait, I want to talk about the weddings and the photo booths. I want to talk about that later.
Right, of course. So,
because I spoke with a couple of people and they're like, Phlipz is making a ton of money off of photo booths.
Everyone's counting my money. I don't know why.
This motherfucker's making
Better watch it, man.
Phlipz is the photo booth king in DC, in the DMV.
You know how expensive kids are? It all goes right back to the family. So
from what you know of, you have 3, right?
Yeah. From what I know of, I have 3. Wow.
What are the ages?
My son is 10. My daughter's 5, and then my youngest son is 1.
Damn.
Well, you have a good 4 or 5 year bracket.
Right. We wanted to make sure first that this was good.
So you did plan it, right?
Right.
You sound like you would have planned it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you have to manage other people, book DJs and the OCD kicks in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I said, I was telling Rise right before and, some other DJs, I was like, you guys are next. Like, I don't know what's happening. I feel like I'm getting out of this. You know what I mean?
Why was that? Physically, you were feeling the fatigue?
Yeah, I mean, just getting tired and the drive and.
Did it get repetitive and redundant?
Yeah, I mean, you guys probably felt it too. I think, just doing the gigs, the music, and don't get me wrong, I love DJing. And I think when COVID happened and jumping onto Facebook and then pivoting to Twitch, it essentially brought back my love for DJing.
You were playing music that
I wanted to play,
right?
Versus what I had to play to get my check, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So now, on Twitch, I can do nights of music that I want to play, whether it's 4 hours of slow jams or 5 hours of 80s music. And, luckily I have this following that's come back week after week and, just help support the channel. And then, I tell them there's ways to support, whether it's subscribing, gifting bits, and I've always liked to give back to help build the channel, and whether it's giving away shirts and hoodies, whatever. I always love to give back, and I think that's what's helped continue the channel to where it is.
So I got a question. So when COVID hit, everything shut down, right? Obviously, you went to streaming, right?
Right.
You have 3 kids,
Right.
Did anxiety kick in? Were you scared? Were you nervous?
Yeah.
Because I don't have kids.
Right.
And I don't have a wife.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But from your perspective, 3 kids, that's a lot, right? That's a gang.
Right. So
that's basically a gang.
So my youngest was born maybe 8 or 9 months into COVID. So
that's even scarier, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It was definitely shock from someone who's was always out and working to just be wow, I got to be home a lot now.
Yeah, so you're I'm a home,
right.
I'm going to be home, but you're I don't know how long this is going to last, right?
Right, exactly.
And then so I don't want to cut you off, but I just want to say so before there was even the option of streaming and oh my God, this could make money.
Yeah.
What were you thinking? What were you thinking? Damn, how am I going to make money?
Well,
were you okay? Did you have savings? Did you you know what I'm saying? What were the initial?
I definitely saved for a rainy day.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I was working myself to the bone before
Right.
COVID happened.
But it also, you put a lot of the businesses, you have multiple businesses, or you have multiple,
Right.
you have a lot of moving pieces to what you're doing. You're
Correct.
doing bookings, you're doing the photo booths, you're doing weddings, but it's all kind of it's involved. So if everything gets shut down with COVID, all of that gets shut down. So you
All
don't,
done.
You don't have any like kind of like any other income streams coming in.
Correct.
That's outside of events, pretty much.
No, event industry was done. Everything that I was doing.
So
done.
that to me is scary.
Definitely scary.
So I want you to amplify your fear. I want to tap into the fear.
So no, it's okay. No, So I would
if you
say
can cry a little bit, that'll be good too. Let's tap into the fear.
tap into the fear. No, I would say I've always been a hustler. You know what I mean? Always
Right.
found a way. I would say when it all happened, I mean, we kind of all thought it would be like a week or two, and then we're get back to normal. Right?
I didn't.
You didn't?
I knew it was going to be a few months.
See, I didn't know that. Like I was like, okay, cool. Then I think everyone saw like D Nice started DJing, and then I got on maybe 2 weeks later because someone was like, oh, you should do this because D Nice is killing it. I'm like, I don't think I can do that. Like that's D Nice, and like he's
Right.
got crazy numbers. And then I did Facebook first.
So you did Facebook, not Instagram.
Right. No, I did Facebook. And
Why is that?
A little bit of both, I think.
Okay.
I remember doing a little bit of both just because that was the main platform. No one really knew about Twitch,
Because I'll be honest, when you was one of the first people that started streaming, you looked like you had a setup ready already. But I don't know if you put in a lot of work for that.
Depending on when you saw me the first time.
I don't know. I even feel like when you were in Instagram Live, like, or whatever the fuck I saw you doing, you had like 2 screens, you had like a whole stage, you had lights and all of this. I'm
Right.
like, did this
Okay.
motherfucker have this shit all set up in his
No,
crib?
okay, so I do private events, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Photo booths, whatever. I essentially was like, look, I'm not using some of this stuff. Let me try to set it up and
Got
make
it.
my stream look at least somewhat viewable. You
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Use the stuff that you have at home and
Because what it looks like now, it looks legit.
right.
But it
Oh my
doesn't
God.
But it doesn't look.
Took a while to do that.
But it doesn't look that much different from where it's
Right, it's definitely like been fine tuned
Right,
to
right,
the
right.
max
Right.
from what it was when I was like using an iPad as my camera. Like I wasn't using any sound card. I was just had a speaker to like the left of the iPad, and that's where I was getting audio straight into the iPad. Like a speaker, loud, whatever audio it picks up, that's
Right,
what it's
right.
picking up. Versus like now, I think we were talking about how like I plugged the S11 into my
You got
computer.
a PC. You got
Right,
everything.
I upgraded to a PC.
Okay.
First had a laptop, now I got another PC.
So when you started doing the Facebook, you were just getting donations and stuff.
right, and then
So you're like, okay, there's money in this shit.
right, and I was like, man, I can keep doing
I
this.
got
But after the first week, that I did it, it kind of died down a little bit.
Right.
But I still kept doing it because I was like,
What else? am I gonna do?
what else am I doing?
I don't want to take care of the kids.
Well, this is
I
all
could-
at
I
night,
could- I could tell my wife
It's an escape.
I can't do
Yeah.
this because I have to stream.
No,
right?
no. I would always I would always stream at night. But yes, if I ever need that excuse, I'm like, oh, I gotta get on this stream. You gotta watch the kids, or like, luckily we have
Baby, you gonna stream?
right. Like, how else are we making money?
I can take care of the kids, but are you gonna stream?
Definitely had those conversations before. But I'm like, look, I'm gonna get on.
Wait, was she supportive or she like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
the fuck are you doing?
No. She's definitely supportive of everything. I've been with her since almost when I first started DJing in like 2001, 2002.
Wow.
Yeah.
Soldier.
Right. We've been together for that long. We got married, I don't know, 12 years ago,
Wow.
And, we support each other with everything.
So
Like,
then when you started streaming, you started seeing some money come in.
Right.
Did that ease your spirits a little bit?
yeah, a
Or-
little bit. Cause I mean, it was money that took care of like the little things, like just getting groceries and
Yeah, yeah.
kid stuff. And
Can I ask you what was maybe like during the time period before you thought you could stream, right? You got 3 kids.
Right.
Were crazy ideas coming into your head on how to make money or like how to bring in some income?
like before I started streaming.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what? I actually, no, because I was fine taking that first break.
It was kind of nice, right?
Yes.
And you didn't think it was going to last that long.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. But then all of a sudden it became 3 weeks and then
Yeah.
4 weeks. And then you're like, okay, I need to do something.
Because wait, when did the DMV open back up? It was a few months, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think Man, it happened in March. I think a lot of Virginia, DC was closed, Maryland was closed, but for some reason Virginia was open, but to like a small extent. Like my friends
it's not
got
so much as
yeah.
because Virginia's not that much of a city. Is it more like suburban, or no?
No, I mean I think they were just like, you know, we're gonna open, but only like X amount of people can come in.
Okay, so by this time you're already kind of making money on
Yeah, I was
streaming.
making
So you're
some
like-
kind of money, some kind of money.
So you're like, okay, whether it opens or not, I can keep continuing this and building this up pretty much.
Right, and with a family too, you know, you don't want to get sick and bring it back, especially like I think
Right,
that
right,
first
right,
COVID
right.
was like kind of,
Yeah.
you know, pretty bad.
So
but
then,
that was the main thing.
so then, fast forward to where this report comes out, and you're making more money than Scratch Bastard. How is that possible? How are you making more money than Scratch Bastard?
So I think it's all about consistency. Like Scratch, for him to make that much money, you know, and I think he only does 2 to 3 days a week. Like, I mean, it's Scratch Bastard. Like,
I think he's only doing once a week, but I could be
Nah,
wrong.
he was
I
doing
think-
like 2-3 days a week.
On Twitch?
people are on
Yeah.
people are on the. If he's on, like him, like a lot of there's big names.
He was
like,
doing like Tuesdays, Sundays. He'll pop up on a Saturday.
right.
right, and like you know, there's big names on the channel or on Twitch that people will just go because that's who's there. You know what I mean? I think.
But
for
you
me-
smashed him by like a good 20 grand.
Well, oh my God, if you probably look and see the hours that I did to get to that, you know.
Yeah.
Compared to these
Yeah,
others,
right.
yeah.
It probably is just me working way more just to get that much more.
You're
Does that
being
make sense?
you're being very Asian then. Right?
Yeah, I was working my
I work
butt off.
harder. I work harder.
Right. Just to get that little
stop.
bit. You guys are crazy.
No stop.
Hey, we don't say that. We don't say no stop.
You can't say.
No stop. No stop. No stop.
Right.
Nah, we don't say that. Work harder. Yeah.
We
do
work
that.
harder.
Yeah. You got it. You got it. You know you practice that shit in the shower sometimes.
He looks into the mirror.
Oh, work harder. Scrub harder. All right. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
All right. So then you were doing like how much? You were streaming every day?
I would say I was consistent Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Probably
Saturday.
in the beginning though. You were like 7 days, right?
No.
no.
I definitely needed days off.
Okay.
But 5 days though.
Yeah, but they were all themed. So like Monday would
my
always be
God.
slow jam night.
Jesus Christ.
Tuesday would be throwback hip hop and R&B. Thursdays all 80s. Friday was like 90s pop and house music. And then Saturdays,
How many hours were you doing this?
I mean, I don't know, 4 to 5 hours every night.
Sheesh.
Because I mean, if I was at a gig, that's what you'd be doing.
Right.
You know, I don't have any 2-hour gigs where I just
Wait,
gotta
so
show
this
up.
report we saw, was that in a span of a year or was that spanning for like a year and a half?
Year and a half.
Year and a half.
Right.
Oh,
It was
that's
a
not
span of a year and a half, and you know, it was cool that I was on it, but there was definitely a lot of DJs that weren't on it because, you know, if they didn't have DJ in their name, like the person who made the graphic, I forgot what his name was, made the graphic, and then it started getting shared, you know, like all over the place. And
So you made
that-
like a PDF form.
right,
Of-
like
of
here are the
what
top
the-
earners, DJ earners, and you know, we should talk about this. And I'm
So
like,
you're saying he only selected certain names?
right, and it's someone probably who doesn't know like there's other DJs that are like crushing it, but doesn't have DJ in their name. Like obviously,
So,
you probably type in DJ, it's gonna populate all people that have DJ in their name.
Got it.
Whereas there's other people who
Like Miles Medina
right,
wouldn't have made the list.
right.
Right.
Like even though he might have made more money than.
But
some
then I
people.
saw Four Color Zach.
Yeah, Four Corners Zach doesn't have DJ in it.
But who doesn't know Four Color Zach?
Right, exactly, exactly.
Or
I got
Jazzy
it.
Jeff too. Who doesn't know he's not a DJ?
I know Jazzy Jeff didn't even make the list. So he made like what? Like 30 grand?
I don't know. I didn't check what Jazzy Jeff made. But Jazzy Jeff's Jazzy Jeff. You know, he's probably has. I want to say he's rich, but he probably has his money. Like he doesn't need to worry about
right.
like.
And he's got like a sponsored channel, right?
Yeah, he doesn't need to
I think
worry
he
about
has like
subscribes.
Domino's Pizza sponsoring
Right.
his shit. Yeah. Or no. I think it was Buffalo Wings. What? Is it?
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, some shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he probably got a nice check for that.
That's a
you
nice
know?
check, actually.
Very.
All right, so okay, I get it. So now so you're on streaming, you're doing your thing,
Yeah.
you're working 5 days a week, you got a different theme every night, and then shit opens back up.
Okay.
And then I know you do weddings, right?
Right.
And how many weddings normally pre-pandemic? How many weddings did you do a year?
I was getting up to like 40 to 50.
Jesus. So every week.
Every week.
Yes.
Not necessarily every week. I mean, you have your slow time during the winter, And then
Okay, of course, yeah.
some weekends you
So
might
twice a week sometimes.
right, yeah, exactly. Some nights it would be
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
weekends it would be like Friday, Saturday,
Right, during the
Saturday,
summer,
Sunday.
like
Right,
When's the big August? Is August the big wedding season?
I
Right?
thought it was October.
Is it October?
Yeah, September, October. Then you have like April, May, June. Then it
Women-
gets kind of hot in July and August. in
Women love
Virginia.
October weddings.
So
Yeah.
September, October is like the wedding season.
Yeah,
Okay. So
And
that
then-
season you're doing like two. You're doing a Saturday and a Sunday, a weekend maybe.
right. Like I'm like say like this September I might have like 9.
How long you been doing that now? The weddings.
I mean, I think I've been doing weddings since 2005, but I think when, there were times, I'm sure with you guys too, like we're like, damn, I only have like 1 or 2 gigs this week, and
Wedding gigs, you mean?
no, like actual gigs.
Club gigs, yeah.
Right. And I think this happened like maybe like 6-7 years ago. And I was like, man, I got to do something else. I don't know. Like, cause might have 4 residencies, you're making that money. And then all of a sudden it's down to 2 because like whether the party stopped or there's other DJs, and I was like, man, I can't, you can't live off, 2 like club gigs, like local club gigs, a week. So I was like trying to find different things to do. And then I was like, you know what, maybe I need to just pivot and do a lot more like wedding related stuff and start promoting myself doing weddings.
Wait, how did that seed get planted in your head? Just to
I mean, I was already doing weddings, but maybe I was like doing like 10 a year. But then all of a sudden, like word of mouth
so
would get me more bookings.
You're Filipino, right?
Right.
So are you doing mostly Filipino weddings?
No, everyone.
Everyone.
Yeah, all types.
You're doing Korean weddings.
Yeah.
Mexican weddings?
Have not done a Mexican.
There's not many
Yeah.
Mexicans in the East Coast like that.
There's definitely a market for the
Yeah.
the Latin Mexican.
Black weddings,
Yeah.
white weddings.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're doing all of these different kinds of weddings.
Yeah.
Now, are you there alone or do you have like a helper?
For the most part, I'm alone.
So you're setting shit. You have your own equipment.
Right.
You get everything, right?
Right.
All right. So what, like in the beginning, the first 5 years of your wedding venture,
Right.
right? What were you charging? If you don't mind me asking.
I'll bleep it out.
Oh man, I mean, you don't have to bleep it out. I mean, I think there's money to be made in weddings. I think I was
to bring equipment and everything.
right. I mean, I'm probably like 12 to 1500. This was
Okay.
this was like years ago. Sorry.
This is like 2005.
Right.
Okay. So 2005, you're making 1,500.
Right. It would have to be more than what I was making at the club because like
You gotta
back
bring
then,
equipment. It was long.
right? And back then, I was definitely more focused on doing the clubs.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like
So you had to pivot even the way you approach everything, right?
right.
Yeah.
I mean, even I would just be like, all right, if the club, if your wedding ends at 11, it's done at 11. I have to be somewhere else by 12 o'clock. You know what I mean?
Oh, so you tried to actually DJ a club right after?
Oh
the
yeah,
wedding.
I was for a while. I was doing the wedding, then get out of there, go straight to pack all my stuff, go straight to the club, get there by like 12:15.
Work harder. Work
Yeah.
harder.
So you would pack
It's a hustle.
everything up. After 11, you pack everything up.
Right.
And get to the club by 12 o'clock.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's a hustle.
So you'd have the wedding van, or where would you leave it?
Whatever. I had an SUV. I mean, I have a van now, but
Like a Scooby Doo van.
yeah.
Okay. I'm picturing Phlipz' face on the side of the van.
No,
like
you never.
weddings,
No,
you
no
know?
way, no way. I would never. I never.
In a suit, in like a nice tailored suit.
No, I would never put anything on a van just because it's just you're asking for your
To get robbed
To
or
get
something.
robbed, man.
Hardest working DJ.
Right?
the
No,
DMV.
no.
So, all right. So now, like, fast forward 15 years, right?
Right.
Right before pre-pandemic.
Right.
Right before the pandemic hits. What is your minimum starting rate for wedding? We could bleep it out if you want.
And you're still just by myself.
And you're doing it alone.
Right. And pre-pandemic, this is also like me booking other DJs for weddings, booking other DJs for clubs.
Wait, explain that. How did that come about?
Which one?
What do you-
Well, I guess
what you-
it's like multi-op, right? So it's
So someone comes to you, I need you to do my wedding.
I can't do it.
I have
but I
like-
have other DJs.
I have
under
other
me.
DJs.
Right.
And then do you rent those DJs equipment
Most
too?
of the time they have their own stuff.
Okay.
Sometimes they might need to.
So you're
borrow
building this
mic.
army of wedding DJs to cover the dates you can't do.
Correct.
Amazing.
Nice.
And
got
then,
it.
but at the same time, I was also booking other DJs to do bar and club gigs
That
around
you
the
couldn't
city.
do.
Right.
Or that was
what I
what-
wouldn't do them.
Yeah, there was just a lower.
Yeah, I mean,
Lower-
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you have every level of DJ everywhere, like especially in our area, and some people just want to work, whether it's pays 200, 400,
Have we had another DJ that worked as hard as this guy? I don't know.
think so.
That had so many things going on, right?
Not in the same industry, like from the wedding DJ to corporate
And
events.
still doing
to
clubs.
So then to Twitch,
Yeah, Twitch.
you might be the hardest working DJ
Ever on the
That's
podcast.
the title.
You know,
podcast.
no, I mean,
and we haven't
before I might have been.
And we've had some ones on here.
And we haven't even talked about the photo booths.
Yeah.
I know, right?
What is this photo booth thing that you do?
So with photo booths,
I want to know what planted the seed for all this shit.
okay, so the reason I got into photo booths was because one time one of my wedding clients asked if I do photo booths, and I was like, no, but here, you know,
Out of desperation.
no, I was hit up this person, and then she eventually told me like, yeah, we booked a photo booth for $1,000, and I was like, what?
He's like, wait a minute.
I was like, how much?
That's more than what I'm getting.
Right. And so I was just like, you know what? Let me look into this a little more. I mean, I definitely started on the lower end, but now I've kind of gotten to a point where like I like what I'm using now. But yeah, that's kind of
So
what
year
all
was
it
this?
was.
What year was this when the photo
Oh
booth?
man, maybe
inquiry?
2017, 2018. Technology's gotten so much better.
I know.
like,
So at that point, 2017, when a photo booth was what, like a ring light, a GoPro or something?
those were kind of just coming out. DSLR cameras. So like what you have here, you can throw in like a shell, essentially. Like nowadays, you can throw it in a shell and
A
get
shell?
a
What do you mean a shell?
It's
like
a
a
bookcase.
like an outer casing that will house your
Like a kiosk.
camera.
Like
Right,
almost like a
correct,
kiosk.
correct. That's what it's called, a kiosk.
Okay.
And bring that to an event. Have like a friend be an
So,
attendant.
wait. I just
No,
walk
it's
me through.
okay.
I like to.
No, I have no problem.
I like to
telling you.
imagine this.
Right,
So you're looking into this, and you need to get a kiosk.
right.
Do you make one? Is there templates? Is there companies that supply you with these
Correct.
photo
So
booths?
there's so obviously the reason I'm out here in Vegas is because I'm here for a photo booth convention, and
There's a photo booth convention.
there is a
I
photo.
would have never known.
No man, there's conventions for everything. You know what I mean?
So now you're seeing, like you were saying, like you're seeing like the 3D photo booths, the
The 360s, like the big thing
360s,
now.
yeah.
Yep.
And where it spins around you and shit.
Right.
Slow motion.
Yeah.
Like remember when that, like the Matrix cameras?
shit.
Right.
Yeah.
There's so much.
Can you imagine these cameras started out in the Matrix and now they're at weddings?
Right.
The Matrix is 20 years old. At least.
That's where
right?
technology has led.
Yeah.
That's where we are right now.
Yeah.
We're
I mean, they're
Matrix cameras.
They're using
right?
them in sports.
It's crazy.
They're using them in everything.
It's really
now.
crazy.
Yeah.
A lot
now-
of
now it's-
Was it Hype Williams using it in his videos?
Yeah, but it was first in the Matrix. They created that technology,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because it was like a bunch of cameras linked up, and then like Charlie's Angels started doing that shit, and like
Yeah.
and then like all of these music video guys started using it for like
Yeah.
98 degrees.
You should see the technology now, especially like some stuff is iPad based and just instant type, technology where like
What's the cost for a 360 camera? Like your cost to buy it?
the good ones, I'd probably say $3K to $5K.
3K to 5K.
Right,
And then
depending
how-
on the size.
And then how much would you rent the 3D60 camera at an event?
I mean, it honestly just depends. Like, you have your different markets where you have corporate activations or weddings or smaller markets, but I've seen the range go
So you
from
know
like,
if it's a corporate activation, you're gonna charge a lot.
right.
If
like,
it's a wedding, you're like, okay.
it just depends. Like,
So like
but
a wedding, just off the top, wedding, 360 photo booth,
couple thousand.
2,000.
Right.
So it pays for itself after a few uses. It's-
Right.
And then a corporate gig, right? Maybe
Yeah.
at a convention center or like a, I don't know, Christmas party, corporate event. What does that go to?
4K.
4K.
Maybe more.
Wow.
But you might have to bring a dope setup. You know what I mean? It's not just bringing that thing out. You have to bring probably like a circular backdrop thing that they came out with that kind of stuff.
Like a nice tarp and all this
right,
stuff. Right.
right.
Okay. I get it. So are you going to buy a 360?
So, it's actually kind of funny. Like pre-pandemic, I ended up buying one because I was ready to go, kind of all in on it.
Then it shut down.
Then it shut down.
Did you sell it?
I ended up selling it to one of my friends back home.
How much did you pay and how much did you sell it for?
I probably paid $4,000.
Wow.
And then I ended up taking a small loss, $3,500.
It's not too bad.
It's not bad. It's honestly not bad. But the thing is,
But you didn't use it once. Or
no,
did you? Man.
no. But the thing is, it's a friend that like I can essentially
Go.
just kind of hit up and white label. So white labeling is this thing where like you hire someone else to do it for another company to do something for you,
Right.
but it's under your company.
I got it.
So then I get a cut. He gets his money, You know,
You're sending the invoice.
right?
Yeah.
And just leasing it from him, essentially.
Well, you're just
Yeah,
giving him the gig.
he'll do the gig, but he's doing it under my
Right,
company.
right. That's dope.
All right. So then, okay. So
There's a whole nother world out there.
I know it's interesting.
It is. No, it is.
I
It really
mean,
is.
I find it interesting because I know nothing about it.
right.
So then,
That's why I'm happy I'm here. I feel like there's definitely another world out there.
Right.
You know, on top of DJing and what we can do with
Yeah.
DJing and the event.
no,
business.
I find it wildly interesting and I'm intrigued, but at the same time, I don't want to do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I completely. It's a lot of work, and I know you do a lot of work on other things. So.
No. Yeah. Like it's really interesting to me. But like, so your first photo booth that you got, right?
Right.
How much was it?
A little over 1,000.
Little thousand.
But like, let's say the first one I got was like more iPad based, and I realized like the quality in that isn't as good. This is at the time,
It was 2017.
right? So then I upgraded to like nicer
wait.
camera.
So someone calls you. They're like, oh, you DJ for a gig,
Right.
And then you're just like, I got photo booths now. Is that what you do?
Correct. But here's the thing, I started a separate photo booth company,
What's it called?
Photo Shoot Fresh.
Photo what?
Photo Shoot Fresh.
Photo shoot fresh.
Yeah, got it from that Jay-Z line, the
Photo
Jay-Z and
shoot
Kanye
fresh.
song.
Yeah.
What was it?
Otis.
Yeah, from
Photo
Otis.
shoot fresh.
Okay.
And because you gotta have a catchy, you gotta have a catchy name, right?
I didn't even remember that line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's a good name.
it's like what
Like I'm
the
about
line's
to
like.
to call the paparazzi on myself.
Yeah, photo shoot fresh, looking like gotta call. About
Does
to call
that,
the
does that
paparazzi
line
on
just
myself.
continue to loop on the website?
No. I don't even have that there.
Wait, is fresh spelled fresh or PH fresh?
I just did FRE.
Okay.
FRE. Yeah.
Smart guy.
Right.
All right.
I couldn't do the double PH.
Okay.
That wouldn't look right.
All right, cool. So, all right. So you launch this company, Photo Shoot Fresh.
Right.
You get your call. I'm sure you were excited, right? You're like, yeah,
Right.
I remember DJing. I'm like, yo, do you guys photo booths? They're like, we're actually looking for one.
Right.
Boom. What do you do? Entry level price? What is it? 500?
Or is it because
At the
you're-
time, it will range between like 500 to 1,500.
1500.
Right. I mean,
so you
gone
must,
up.
So you must be really good at negotiating or like smelling. Like you're ready to negotiate, right?
He smells blood.
Can you-
It depends. It
can
has
you
to be worth
tell?
it. It has to be worth the time.
All right, I want to go through this tactic of how you negotiate. All right. Are there key words is there a certain language that you push out there that you can tell how much they're ready to spend and how much they're not?
They'll say. I mean, I'll send them my number, and they'll either ghost me and never hit me back,
Okay,
or they'll
okay.
be like, oh well, this is our budget.
Oh, so it's just as simple as that. You're not really you can't tell like, all right, this is a spender.
Right.
But you just got to take that chance,
Right.
Because you could have made double. If it was
Right.
a
I mean,
corporate,
you gotta work the emails or the calls.
So when you're saying like sometimes there's a corporate event, sometimes there's a wedding,
Right.
How do you differentiate initially? For example, I call up. You don't know if I'm corporate. You don't know.
Right.
You don't know if I'm a wedding, right?
Right,
So bring,
right.
bring, right? You're like, hello, is this photo shoot fresh?
yeah.
And you're like, yes, right?
Right.
I'm like, yo, I need you for an event. How much is it?
What kind of event is it?
Maybe about like 30, 40 people.
Okay.
How much is it?
Is it a birthday? Is it a wedding? Is it a
And then you start fishing that, right?
right? You want to
I'm
find
like,
out.
well, you know what? I just want to know the price.
Well, it
Why do
depends
you want to know more information about the event?
so I know exactly what to bring.
I like this.
No, but that's true. You
Yeah.
want to know exactly what to bring. It's just like DJing. You don't want to show up to a gig and not have the right stuff,
Right.
whether it's music or equipment wise.
equipment, yeah.
Like you don't want to show up to a 2,000 person event with a couple tops, and a sub because that's not enough.
Got it.
You know what I mean? You have to know exactly what you're getting into.
So if I'm aggressive, like, what's the ballpark price for it? Just so I know,
How many hours?
That's like, you just keep
Right.
doing that.
You, like I said, you want to know all.
Can I speak to someone who would give me a straight answer?
Can we speak to
Keep
the
asking-
manager?
All our information's on our website.
So you have pricing on the website, or you
Right, I
try
have
to stay
pricing
with
on the
it?
website.
You do. Okay.
So that way, if you have your pricing on the website,
then I didn't
it
need
takes
to
away.
call. All right.
Right. You make the call if you have something like specific or doing something different,
I got it. So then, all right. So you have your pricing on the website. All right. How many different photo booths do you have?
I can probably do
Do you have like a photo booth empire now? Like how many?
I don't know what an empire is, but
I mean, like if you have more,
I
like
have
five
a good
photo
amount.
booths, if you have 5 photo booths, I feel like that's an empire.
I have that.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
have an empire.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I don't. It's not an empire.
what's the name of this podcast?
Yeah. What do we?
Reflections of the Photo Booth.
Fresh.
I want to do 45 minutes on photo booths for this. I want to see. No.
So wait, you just drop it off and then pick it up?
So depending on the event, I do have like people that work under me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if it's a wedding that I'm doing, I'll essentially I can go set it up myself, and then they can just show up and just help run the event.
So this is on a crazy weekend. All right, a crazy weekend. Saturday, Sunday, you got a wedding, and they want a photo booth. Right. Now you're booked.
Right.
Someone else calls you. I need a wedding DJ and I need a photo booth. Right.
Okay.
I hit up your homie. Right. I need you to bring the photo booth and do the wedding.
Right.
Right. And then he'll get his cut.
Right.
And then how many of those can you do? What's the most you've stacked in one weekend?
Like a weekend or a night?
Give me
Even
a night.
one.
Like on a Saturday night?
Give me a night. Yeah.
Like on a Saturday night, I mean, there have been times where we had maybe 3 wedding DJs out, 3 to 4 photo booths out at the same time.
Oof.
Nice.
So you're caking up.
Damn.
This was pre-pandemic.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
Yeah.
But so you're caking up like, I don't know, 20K or some shit like for that one Saturday.
I wish it was that much.
Like around
No, that's about 10.
Yeah.
10 to 15.
Maybe.
Yeah.
On
10
a
to
good
15.
day. On a good day. But, in
That's
the end,
one
you
weekend.
still have to pay out people.
That's one day.
That's one day.
But you still have to pay out people. I mean, there's like, but you had, and I'm not gonna lie, that era, like right before pandemic, was like one of the most stressful times because I was essentially the point person for everything else,
yeah.
right? And that's like a lot of people being out, and then
Did you realize it at the time, or did you realize it after the pandemic? Because
after the pandemic?
yeah, it's funny because I didn't realize how overworked and stressed I was until during the pandemic.
Right, same.
And then I was just like, why was I living like that? And I think we all were like, why the fuck were we living like that?
Yeah.
Right.
And so, wow, that's crazy.
But do you think you would have ever stopped had the pandemic not happened?
No,
You would have kept going.
Keep going. I mean, I had the 360 booth. Like I had everything ready to go, just to like keep pushing the events. It's like
Where do you keep all of this shit?
Must have a hell of a garage of
Storage.
storage.
Storage?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. All right, so what's the number? How many photo booths do you have right now? What's your empire? Flex. You got Mayweather showing off his cars.
Well, okay, so there's different kinds. There's different kinds. Yeah.
Mayweather
you're
showing off his
stupid.
cars, right?
I can do multiple events.
I would love to see a video of him showing off his booths.
Yeah.
Like, all lined
can you
up.
make a video like that where you're walking through?
No.
Just robots and shit.
Everyone thinks I flex already.
Do you flex?
Nah, you're humble.
I
as
don't
hell.
flex. I'm super humble, but
Who
it's
says
like
you flex?
But when you're during the time when you're like, say, making that like monthly calendar and you have like 30 to 40 gigs, like there's always gonna be the people that are like, damn man, why are you flexing so much? Why are you working so much? Counting your money, really it's just me promoting myself. Like, there's a lot of things that like DJs go through where they're like, if I'm on Twitter, I love Twitter, there's a lot of stuff like, man, why do DJs put like that they're doing a wedding or a corporate event on their monthly calendar? I'm like, well, one, I don't mind.
someone tweeted that, right?
I don't mind it, to be honest, because yes, one, not everyone's going to even your regular gigs, so who cares? 2, does that make sense?
Yes.
Good point.
No one's really going to even your regular gig, so who cares if you put a corporate or wedding event? Because the reason you're putting on there is to promote yourself for like that one random friend 2 months from now was like, hey, I saw on your flyer that you do weddings. I'm getting married.
Or you do corporate events.
Yeah, you're cutting out that initial question that they're gonna ask of, do you do weddings?
I think sometimes, and I could be wrong, but back in the day, this is like I don't know if it was the 2000s or whatever. We would not we, but motherfuckers would put corporate event on a Saturday because they weren't working.
Right.
So it was like you can't check.
Instead of saying
Right.
like offer idol, you say corporate
Well,
event.
I would put private event.
Yeah, private
Private event. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Private
so
event.
it's
My
like
fault.
you can't check. You like where you gonna
You
check?
really don't know.
Yeah.
You can't check on like where the fuck I am, because if I named a club, you'd be like, you ain't working there,
Right.
Like Phillips working there, or like Jamie's working there,
Right.
But if I do private event, you're like,
Oh, okay.
all right. So a lot of motherfuckers used to do that. So when motherfuckers put corporate event or private event,
Right. You don't really know.
you don't know.
I mean, but for me, I've always
so if I
I've
have
always
a-
posted like
Yeah.
when I'm at a gig, whatever it was.
But
like,
your
I'm
events,
on-
your private events are legit.
Right.
Because I could put out a calendar and I could be like, you know, oh, these are my gigs, and then I could just lay out 10 private events.
Right.
And people are like, that's cap. I think that was the point of the tweet.
Right. If you're like, if all your stuff's like just as private corporate event, that's obviously different. But like for me, like I was, I was hustling, man. It was a lot of driving, a lot of, sometimes doing 3 gigs a day.
Not seeing your family.
Not seeing my family. I mean,
not
it's
seeing
huge.
your wife.
Right.
Right.
But in the end, we both work a lot, and I think COVID was definitely, like, at least for me, was definitely like the game changer to get me in a
what do
better
you think
way.
changed, like, that made you pull back a little bit?
Just less stress. And then honestly, I think getting on Twitch and actually having it, like
fun.
work out, right. And being able to just be at home, seeing the kids grow up over those 2 years, the 1.5 to 2 years, I missed out on a lot, to be honest. And if you're like
Did that hit you?
It did. It really did.
So your perspective on parenting just completely changed?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, like, obviously I'm there, but when you have to do, like, say, a wedding on a Saturday, then a club gig, I mean, you're essentially gone from like 12 p.m. to like
on a Saturday,
4 a.m.
on a weekend.
Right.
That's more.
You're gone. And then, if you go out, you drink after, or if you're drinking at your gig, you might be waking up late, you know what I mean? And then you're not really in until like, maybe 12 p.m. the next day. But then there's days where I have like Saturday, Sunday weddings, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm pretty much gone the whole weekend. Mm-hmm. That's a long time.
And so what do you think when the pandemic was happening, you were spending time with your family, when did it click? Well, like, was there like an instance or something that happened and you're like, oh my God, like, what have I been doing these past few years? Like, I've just been killing myself.
Right. I think also, like, I think 2019, let's say, was like my best year working, right? I realized but then I look back, I was like, after taxes, paying out people, and then, seeing how stressed I was, like with the calls and texts, like while I'm working and then other people are working. And now I'm not getting any of those anymore. I'm like, wow, this is actually really nice. You know what I mean? And I'm like I said, with Twitch, I was able to just kind of get on and play music that, like, I love to play and learn about new music. It didn't have to be like the same thing. Yeah.
But it's also kind of the thing. I was talking to my boy. He was like, when you make more money, you spend more money.
Right.
And he's like, but during the pandemic, I was making less and I adjusted. Mm-hmm. And so when things opened back up, I kind of stayed the same. I stayed like pandemic spending,
right?
But I was making a little bit more money. But it was just funny. He's like, back in the day, I didn't realize how much I was spending. I was just spending. I was making more. I was spending more. Right. I was stressed out. And then you just realize, like, I can actually live really well off of this amount of money, but I just don't need to spend it on all of this other shit.
Right.
Pretty much.
I mean, like I said, I think that 2019, let's say I made X amount of money. After all my expenses and everything, I barely made any more than what I would have made if I was just doing everything by myself.
Right.
Like right now, I don't really drive anywhere unless it's like a private event.
Do you feel like our generation, because we're around the same age,
right.
I'm a little older, but like we're around the same age. Do you feel like I feel like I was brainwashed to think successful businesses always need to expand, like franchise. When we saw a business, and I think during maybe the 90s or 2000s, we always had to look at, like, I don't know if it was maybe it was the 2000s. Maybe it was when social media started also taking over. Mm. It's like you needed growth every year. It wasn't enough that a business was consistent. They needed to have growth every year.
Right.
It wasn't just like, well, they're staying the same and they're doing well. That's great. And just have it continue.
Right.
It was like, oh no, we need to open a second location.
Yep.
Oh, we need to open a third. Or we need to bottle up the sauces or something. Like, we need to do online. And I feel like now when I look at business, I'm like, and I talk to people and they want to expand, I'm like, take it easy on expansion. Right. Like, bring it down. Like, you're making good money now. Right now. Like, everyone I know that's like super millionaire, like weird, like that, they just kind of spend more. And they're not any happier, but they continuously like spending more. Like something, I'll get a Bentley, I'll get this and I'll get that. But then it's like they're still not happy, like their health, and then something happens with their health.
Right. Yeah.
But they're continuously buying all of these material things with the more money that they make, but I never see them happier.
Right.
But anyway, sorry, I went
No,
off
you're
on
good.
that tangent.
No, I mean, it
But-
makes sense. Like now during COVID, I was able, like I said, I was able to just be at home and, like I've been so happy just to like control everything now, but get back into control of everything.
Right.
And I think that's maybe that's the thing that triggered is like when COVID happened, it made me realize that you don't have control over everything, but you thought you did. Mm-hmm. Just like that, they can take everything away and tell you're not working.
Yeah. And
Even if you had control of everything,
Yeah.
there's someone above us that's just gonna stop everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's when I realized, you know what, I'm ready to take a step back because you can do all this work for 20 years just to have it taken away.
So then when things started opening back up, I'm sure like everyone was calling you for weddings and shit like that, right? Like
Yeah, I mean, we had to go back and like kind of redo some weddings that like had to postpone.
right.
I was going to ask that, like, after 2020 initially happened, was there like just an influx of like weddings that were supposed to happen from like 2019?
Exactly.
That year?
Yep.
Was it just overwhelming?
Yeah, that's why I feel like it may have been like double or triple the
Yeah.
the normal
Right.
business.
But
you know?
what stinks is like, it's not new money. You know what I mean? The postponements were taking over
Yeah,
the
it's-
New
it's
Year's dates. Like they were taking like the 2021 dates of like the weekends you would have had new money. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
their weddings would have already been
It's
done.
just basically a makeup, pretty much.
Right. I mean, and I'm I'm reasonable. Like they don't have control over that kind of stuff.
It's
so-
funny that you see it that way, though. That this is like, oh, this is old business. This is new business, pretty much, right?
Right. I mean, it's true though. I mean,
So how does it work? They send you deposits and you just keep the deposit?
right. I mean, and I would just say, hey, look, just like I said, I'm reasonable. They didn't have control. Like it's one thing if they cancel it on their own because of whatever reason, not COVID.
Yeah, yeah.
That's different. But
So you were
like,
sending deposits back.
yeah, I had to.
Wow. So that
I mean, I know friends that didn't. I know friends that did, and everyone's different, But I didn't feel right, like keeping someone's money and like, especially if they like
They need
cancel.
it.
right? They need it. In the end, like I said, I was able to save.
So I get
a lot
it.
of people need it more than I did.
So you sent it, and then deposits came back, and you're like, "Well, this was my money anyway."
right.
Now, do you charge more or do you keep
I
the
will say I
rates?
do have a non-refundable deposit retainer in my contract,
Right.
but like these are different circumstances.
Yeah. So legally, you didn't have to give it back. You just out of the kindness
Right.
of your heart.
I don't. You don't. In the end, you don't want people like
Talking shit.
Right.
Did the rate go up?
Yes.
Nice.
Rates have gone up.
Nice.
I mean, I think it should. In the end, any business, your rate should go up.
So what are you doing different now with how you're approaching business and everything? So like
Raise the rates, definitely.
rate. Okay, the rates are risen, right?
Right.
So I'm gonna name all the branches in your business tree. Okay.
Okay.
There was club DJ,
Club
right?
DJ. Yep.
There was the wedding DJ scene, private events or whatever,
Right.
the event DJing.
Right.
There was the photo booth.
Right.
There was the outside bookings in clubs, and now I'm adding Twitch.
Right. I'm also part owner in a club in DC.
Okay, I didn't even know that.
Right.
What club?
Living room.
Living room.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're a partner in a club. That's
Right.
6.
That's a dope name, by the way.
Living room.
So, so then now you have all of these 6 elements. How were you juggling it in 2019, and what are you doing differently now this year, or like in the past year?
I mean, I think everything kind of the same, but maybe like not taking. When you raise your rates, you're gonna cut out people that don't. Like, ooh, that's a little too much. We're not gonna hit
Right.
you back. So essentially, I guess like it's work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
Like whereas maybe I wanted to push for 40 to 50 weddings at X amount. Now I want to do 30 weddings
You
at
just raise
more. And now, and it's okay if a couple doesn't want to book me or a client doesn't want to book me. I'm actually happy now just being at home and staying on the couch and making less money because they didn't want to book me. But you know what? I'll jump on Twitch and do a club set. I have that following. And as long as, with Twitch, it's like one of those things where you have to be consistent. And if you're not on, you have to tell them you're not going to be on.
Are you surprised to see how many people you tell them your rate and they're like, "Oh, it's too much," and then they call you back later? Or that doesn't
That's
happen?
happened a couple times, but like, I mean, like what I love about our area and the DMV is like, there's a lot of DJs, but there's a lot of work. So as long as you're trustworthy and that you get the job done, you can command certain rates, and you know, like I said, if it goes to someone else, good for them. You know what I mean? We can all eat.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how it is in our area. Like the private event business is definitely huge in our area.
Yeah. I would imagine so.
Right.
Right. It seems like that. Yeah, I can see. There's a lot of events going on in DC and shit
Right.
like that.
On top of that, you also have the club scene. You know, we haven't even really talked too much about that. Like we're like the pockets of like, you know, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Like there's so many places to go and DJ too. Like I wouldn't say necessarily during the week, because I think that's like every city. There's not much going on during the week, but Friday and Saturdays, there's so many places you can go in our area to listen to like dope DJs.
Yeah, I've been meaning to go to Jerome Baker's and
Right.
The Darling Nikki,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
He does it with
Matthias.
Matthias. Yeah. So
Yeah.
have you been to that party?
I have not, just because I haven't really gone out since, I mean, people have been going out. I just decided to stay home. I mean, with the family and everything. And, you know, I think COVID like kind of went through 3 different stages, and,
Yeah.
you know, I just try to be safe. You know, luckily we have help from like our in-laws and, you know, my parents.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can stay home and make money at home and not get sick, then I'm going to do that. You know, you just have to, you know, your, what is it called? Your priorities.
Right.
Get your priorities straight. Like I can go out, if I wanted to go back out to the clubs, I can. I mean, I have those relationships with all my like club owner friends or whatever. I was kind of over it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Everyone's different though, you know?
Yeah.
Like a lot of my friends went back, and I'm happy for them, because that's, you know, being in the crowds, seeing everyone, you know, having fun. That's a big thing. I do miss that. And so I'll DJ like once a month, you know, outside.
Yeah. No, I find you mentioned like you know, we could be talking about the club scene more in DC. Mm-hmm. The thing is, I don't really meet a lot of DJs who have so many side businesses like you,
Right.
Who did it.
Right.
So I think it's important to talk about it, because I think there's a lot of DJs that really just depend on one thing.
Right.
And they put their eggs in one basket. And I feel like throughout probably like your career, you've had to, you know, you've been resourceful, and you've thought of different ways of like bringing in income besides only this one thing, you know? I've noticed that some of these DJs, they become obsessive, right? And they're focusing on one thing. And the thing is, like, sometimes you just need to step away from something. You can't watch like one plant grow and just
Right.
sit there and watch it. So you kind of got to go and just like, you know, plant another seed.
Right.
And then research something and see how it goes. And I like how you've done that.
Right.
You
I
know?
mean, not everything I've tried to get into is like one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have to sacrifice, you have to try things out. You know, with the photo booth stuff, like I've invested in other photo booths and then ended up going a completely different direction, you know, like right before COVID happened, and was just completely upgraded and got different booths. But I spent, you know, pretty good amount of money on other stuff. And, you know, luckily during that time, during COVID, I was able to sell a bunch of it, you know, and put that towards, honestly, my stream. Like, you know, whether it was like getting a new camera or multiple cameras, a new streaming computer, like I reinvested what I got from like the photo booth stuff I wasn't using back into Twitch, because I was like, you know what, this is working for me, and I'm gonna try to ride this as long as I can. And you know, I was telling Neva earlier, like a lot of people don't realize like Twitch is worldwide and it's 24/7. So whether you're on at 12 a.m. or 12 p.m., there's always gonna be someone on to listen. You know what I mean?
Have you taken a break, like a week or 2 weeks off of Twitch?
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm on a break.
So like when you come back, do you notice your viewership goes down a bit and you have to rebuild it up?
No, because kind of like what I said earlier is like, as long as you're consistent, and then if you have your following and you tell them ahead of time,
Right.
then they'll come back. I think what happened though with some DJs is a lot of DJs kind of, went back to work, and, from Twitch, they were on Twitch and they went back to work.
They abandoned their following.
Yeah,
much.
I mean, I wouldn't say abandoned, but they just
I would say they
I felt like I kind of did that. Like,
You think you abandoned?
But you
I
got
abandoned
back.
It was all your friends and your family,
my friends
though.
and family. My few fans.
But like
Your family stopped talking to you?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
you went back to work. I mean, you had your gigs, and and there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone has their own journey. I don't think you should. I don't judge anyone on anything. Like if you got off, you got off. Is that a pause? I don't know. But if you
If you got off Twitch,
yeah, if you got off Twitch, that's cool. Your gigs came back, but then you see them come back maybe like 6 months later, and it's like, the numbers aren't there, and
Right.
and then obviously that's discouragement for them to come back onto Twitch. You know what I mean? Like another stream.
Well, it's like followers. If they're loyal to you and you're not loyal to them,
Right.
It's kind of like, oh, you're coming back 6 months later because we shut down again, like, and you can't work outside.
Right.
And so it's kind of like, like I think we're good. We found our other, other DJs that we're.
No,
gonna
that's
fuck
really
with.
what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Like it's like any kind of club and it's like real life. Like I think Twitch channels are like
But
different clubs.
the thing is, you can't do that in anywhere.
Right.
Like you can't like build a following and then bounce and then be like, nah, come on, like.
Just treat him like a side chick.
Yeah, like I need y'all again.
I miss y'all. I miss y'all.
Did you miss me?
Like no one's gonna appreciate that shit.
Right. So
know?
those viewers probably just found, other streamers that are there for them.
I got a new man.
Hey,
Right.
big head.
Yeah. Hey, big head.
How y'all doing, Discord?
So wait, I want to talk about this club because I knew nothing about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Have you
called-
posted about it? Because I feel like I've heard that name.
Yeah, I post it every now and then. I mean, I haven't posted recently. I'm kind of taking like social media breaks just because,
Right.
it's kind of over it, to be honest. I like Twitter. Twitter's funny. Twitter's funny when you find the funny parts of Twitter versus like just people like
Yeah.
DJs complaining. Like that's the worst.
Yeah, I mean,
But for the most part, I like Twitter. I think, Instagram, Facebook. Facebook, I barely get on anymore except for like Marketplace.
Yeah.
Find some deals, whatever. But Instagram, yeah, I'm just maybe posting on my stories, but not really posting much just because I just need a break.
so all right. So with
The
this
club,
club,
right.
So with this club that you're a partner in,
Right.
when did it open? Like when?
Man, I mean, I don't know, 2017?
2017.
Right.
It's been around for a while.
About like almost 5 years, I think.
So how many? Is it a lounge? Is it a bar? What is it?
I'm trying to think if you were there when Josephine was open.
I was there.
You,
I was
you
there
know
with
Josephine?
Yeah.
So it's Josephine.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
when Josephine closed, they brought in a bunch of partners, and we joined in and we opened Living Room. And luckily, we made it through the pandemic.
Right.
We were closed, but we made it through, and we're open.
So what are your duties as a partner?
So I definitely was a little more hands-on before the pandemic, but now I'm just like kind of like, you guys just do whatever you want to do. I mean, for anyone that wants to get into the club scene, make sure you know what you're doing and like who you're working with. And it's definitely been a learning experience, good and bad.
Wait, so walk me through this. They want you, like, you have an opportunity to invest in this new club.
Right.
What's the, like, we can bleep it out, but
Right.
what's the investment that they were looking for from you?
Yeah, bleep it out.
Yeah. So then you put in, and how hands-on were you?
In the beginning, a lot. Like I was there like during the build outs and,
With the DJ booth goes here,
Right,
the lighting,
correct.
getting all of that stuff.
correct, like weekly meetings and all that kind of stuff.
And then later, as it was opening, what were you handling? Helping with the marketing and the DJ
Booking
lineup?
DJs,
Yeah.
making flyers, that kind of stuff. Anything like music related.
So then you did that for 2 years, and then like the pandemic hit,
Yeah, 2 to 3 years, pandemic hit.
and then it reopens, and then you just kind of took a step back from it.
Right. There was another DJ that came up under me and paused that he,
He's good.
no,
He's on top of it.
He's on
Pause.
top.
Yeah. He essentially like was able to become a part of the club, and
Yeah.
luckily, he's, I don't know, headstrong. Pause.
Damn it, man.
But he's a go getter. You know what I mean? Like he's essentially
taking the
hanging-
initiative
Yeah,
on a lot of
correct.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the right word, initiative.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, I didn't want to deal with it anymore. So,
Got it.
But I mean, the club's popping on the weekends, so I'm not really.
Yeah.
I can go there whenever I want. If I want to drink, I can go there. If I want to DJ, I can go there.
You're
I
getting
can
your
DJ.
cut, so-
Right. Correct.
So you guys reopened. You're not involved as much, right?
Right.
And I guess one of your partners took more of the initiative to like kind of
Right.
get it open and start it up.
Right.
So like with your initial investment, was it worthy with the with the return that you
The
got?
ROI?
Do you think?
I think the learning experience was definitely worth it.
Right.
But knowing back then, knowing what I know now, I probably would not have jumped in. Just because it's taken a while to get that initial investment. I think to get it all back,
Right.
But like I said, it's for me, like I said, I'm always a positive person, and the learning experience that I've had over the past 4 or 5 years of being a part of it, I think is well worth more than say. I mean, in the end, I haven't lost anything yet, so we're in a good place. But what I've learned from the back end. What I've learned from the back end is that I've always we've always been DJs. I don't know I never knew what was on the other side of the business.
Operations of the club.
Correct. Yeah, and now I've learned a lot more of it. And obviously, had I known back then what I know now, probably wouldn't have made that decision to join. Put the money somewhere else. But like I said, everything's a learning experience. You if you don't take risk, you're not gonna. I don't think you're gonna grow.
Were you shocked at how much it costs to like operate a club, like as far as payroll and all of this stuff?
Yeah, especially in DC. Like luckily, the new year after pandemic, we were able to I think renegotiate like the lease. I think back then, it's DC. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, it's like it's probably like New York or whatever big cities like. The nightlife in DC's there. There's someone else. If we don't pay it, someone else will.
Wow. I'm actually impressed that you did that, but I'm also kind of I would knowing how clubs operate, I would never do it. Just it was just.
I mean, the opportunity seemed like it was good. The people they sell you on the dream essentially. You know what I mean? It's gonna be the hottest new club. We're gonna make X amount of money.
You do,
get paid back.
So you do so much, right?
Yeah,
you do a lot. Did you get that from your parents or something? Do you think?
I think probably just being a hard worker.
I think about that a lot.
Right, just being a hard worker, and I think.
But do you think that's good?
I've been
thinking about it.
I think it is to a point.
It is.
I mean, I think a lot of things have changed as far as since COVID, no one wants to work. I still want to work, but maybe not as much as I was before. But the worker industry, no one wants to work. When I can try to find a photo booth attendant and pay them $250 to $300, and people will be like, "Nah, I'll just stay home."
That's crazy.
Damn.
I say this only because I feel as Asians, we're ready to I feel like in order to feel like we're doing well or to be successful, there has to be some type of stress or overexertion involved.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's no, I'm not. I'm too relaxed and too much money is being made. I have to do something else. I have to do another thing. I have to do another thing.
Yeah. And I always want to be busy.
Yeah. But I'm wondering, is that
before I did.
Now that I'm getting older, I'm wondering, is that a good thing? Am I, you know what I'm saying? I kind of wonder if because even to this day, I need to fill up the time in my day.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I sometimes I feel like I've talked about this before. You get addicted to stress.
Yeah.
Because it becomes a routine of how you live. So when you don't have the stress, you have anxiety because you're like, wait, I don't have this stress.
Yeah.
Something's wrong, right? Because everything was working out when I was stressed. But then you kind of, does that make sense?
It does, because I think when you start to add more stuff to your plate, you get stressed, but once you find the way to fix it, then you're like, I've completed something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Then you want to add something else that's more of a challenge.
Right.
Does that make sense?
So I feel like you and I, being Asians and overworking ourselves, I feel like the ultimate growth would be when we start chopping off the branches.
Right.
And maybe we have only 2 branches or something.
Right. And that's kind of what I've been doing.
Right.
No more booking other DJs, only book right now. I mean, we're just kind of just getting back in everything, in the whole scheme
keep
of
the
things.
photo booth branch.
Yeah, that's just going.
Your photo booth empire.
That's the one that's slowly catching its feet again.
That's becoming the root.
Right. Because, in the end, with COVID and everything, it's a lot of touching, essentially, whether it's a screen.
Yeah, but women love
props.
photo booths.
I
Bro.
know.
Really
Oh,
do.
man. Yeah.
Women love photo booths.
Do you have any photo booth competition?
Oh, yeah. In our area, there's tons.
You talk shit about each other?
No, I don't. Like I said, I'm generally a positive person.
Is it an ugly business, the photo booth thing?
It's like, damn it, you got to put a kiosk.
Gotta stay
If someone,
You're looking for that photo booth drama.
If someone gets the first 4K 360 photo booth thing,
you gotta one up them.
and we're like, are you fuck? I gotta get that.
No, one of my homies that's out here right now is I think he's like the official like BET, like he was at the Super Bowl 360 guy.
Oh wow.
He's the official 360 guy.
For like these big companies like the BET Awards, Super Bowl.
What's his company's name? Do you know?
Don't give him business. No,
Oh,
No, it's
please,
okay.
leave it.
I mean, he's probably
pick-
who I would hit up if I like got booked for a 360 booth. I'd just be like, hey, can you do this gig? You know what I mean?
That's dope.
But like there's money, there's so much business in DC, like when everything's working, you know, obviously.
Right.
That, you know, there's money to be made. And like I said, nowadays I'm just like, if they don't bite, they don't bite, and I'll just go hang out with my fam.
Is there another business venture you want to do in the wedding side? Like
I mean, there's not really much more, you know, you can add on. other than-
Fireworks.
Wait, what more can you do?
I mean,
fireworks,
Bake the cake?
Right.
Live
drones,
No, I would say there's definitely,
bake the cake.
Bake a wedding cake?
yeah, you know,
Fucking treats.
bring the chocolate fountain. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's definitely more you can do with weddings as far as like, you know, moving heads, making it more like a club, essentially. Like a lot of the big wedding companies, like don't even consider myself a big wedding company. There's big wedding companies that are bringing club-like feel to weddings.
Bringing cryo guns to the place.
Yes, cryo guns.
confetti, all that.
Cryo guns, confetti, sparklers, like when the bride and groom come out.
You got that shit. You got that shit.
I don't. I have a gun, but I don't have the cryo gun.
A cryo gun.
I got the cryo gun,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
like, but yeah, I mean, you can make, and then now you say your 2-3K wedding is now like a 10K wedding. You know what I mean? But then you have like a whole team like helping you out during this
What
whole
about
thing.
car service?
Car service? I don't mess with cars.
Oh, okay, cool.
Scope the ice?
First,
Oh, you mean like getting like a bus to drive people around?
Yeah, like
Oh,
a
yeah,
party
yeah.
bus or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
First of all, he's the last person you want to talk to about further expanding your photo booth business.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely more pockets to every business, you know, and there's always ways you can add more, but then at the same time, you might be adding more stress.
So during this whole time, pre-pandemic, you were doing all of this, juggling all these branches
Right.
from the Phlipz empire.
Right.
You were making edits as well? Because
Right.
you were making tons of
right,
edits.
I was sending them to all you guys too. And honestly,
Yeah.
like that's how I feel like I met a lot of you guys too, is like back in 2005, 2006, I would just honestly hit a lot of you guys up on like Facebook, or not Facebook, MySpace or whatever, and be like, hey, you know, I've been making edits. You guys would send me your email and just send them out. And
Yeah.
and you guys would give me feedback.
because I remember your name for two things, DC and edits.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think I was crushing edits, making mixed CDs. I loved making mixed CDs, like, you know, concept mixes with like acapellas and, you know, instrumentals. And
Were you working with the record pools with your edits?
no,
or-
just
You're
on
just
my
giving
own
them out?
stuff. Yeah, just giving it out for free. I definitely had stuff on like DMS and
DJ City.
You know
I think
what?
DJ City. Yeah, DJ City for a little bit. I would send them, and whatever they posted that worked for them, they would
Right.
post it. You know,
You know what edit I need from you?
which one?
The NSYNC and Janet Jackson.
Oh,
That's the way
yeah,
love
yeah,
goes?
I redrummed that joint because no one
That
has that. No one
I
plays
could
it.
never find that fucking midst nowhere, man.
Well, I redrummed it and made it. I mean, it's not like, unfortunately, it's not like an official song. So like,
But the way you did it sounded official.
right. So no, I don't. You have. It's the only time I played is on Twitch.
Uh-huh.
But yeah. So I sent out a ton of edits, but I think I stopped like really like, or slowed down on the edits just because.
What year did you slow down? Because I was looking at my library and I noticed like it just started slowing down.
Right.
Around 2013.
2010 is when my son was born.
Right.
And you know, I couldn't play Call of Duty anymore. I couldn't. I was making like all these dope Be More edits, you know, of like the hip hop songs that were out at the time, and then I just didn't have time anymore. Like, you know,
Yeah.
just with the kids.
I think
and-
2013, 12 is like the last
right.
of them, right?
I mean, I still would make edits like for myself, and if I could send them out, like if I was traveling somewhere and you know I had my computer with me, I'd make whatever I could, and then send out whatever I could. But then I realized, you know, it's kind of like with any business, if you're not really making anything off it, then you got to push it to the side.
Yeah, because was it mostly for marketing that you did?
Yeah, marketing. You know,
Wow.
get feedback from other DJs. I got into video DJing. I'm still doing it because of Twitch, but you know, in the end, video DJing didn't really pop off like how I thought it would. You know, how it could have.
I honestly think the best form of Twitch is video DJing.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
I mean-
it's the most entertaining.
Right. You want to keep people's attention, whether it's, you know, videos, the chat, you know, cracking jokes or
Yeah.
whatever. but you just want to keep everyone engaged. And I think that's what works for my channel is like, there's a lot of things you can do besides listening to the music.
Mm-hmm. No,
I wish I could make edits, dude, but nowadays I'm like, there's not really much music I want to, edit. Like, and it's crazy because like I think even on other channels or not other record pools, a lot of the edits are edits of older songs. You know what I mean? And then, but in the end, I guess that's a lot of the stuff that's still working, in the clubs.
Even in the house EDM world, a lot of it's like 90s to early 2000s R&B now.
Yeah, they're just everyone's like redoing all the old stuff. So there's not much more you can do other than like the normal bootleg kind of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hardest working DJ.
I wish. There's definitely harder workers, but like I think, I just don't want to, I'll be honest, like want to make my parents proud too, because like when I went to college, I barely graduated out of graphic design,
Yeah.
But that's when I started DJing too. Was in and essentially that just obviously popped off. So like at some point, I'm sure with your parents too, they're like, why are you DJing? 7 years later, you're still DJing. You're getting another job, and then all of a sudden, I got married. We bought a place. Like now we have kids. It's like they can't really like say anything anymore
Because you built it all from DJing.
Right. Yeah. And then like even doing events where like, at Park one time I did an event with Jamie Foxx and people were taking pictures and I sent it to like, my parents. I'm like, yo, I just did an event with Jamie Foxx. And then when they text you back, like saying like how they showed it to like, their friends, like that's when I knew like it finally clicked.
They're like showing you off, right?
Right. Yeah. Versus like, people probably asking like, oh, he's still doing that DJ thing? Mm-hmm. I'm sure we all get that question still, Yeah. You still doing that photo booth thing? I'm like,
that's like the ultimate flex for like Asian parents to get together. Like, like they just gather and they just start bragging about their kids.
Right.
Showing pictures.
But they do it like, oh, like my son is so busy, he's busy. I don't get to see him anymore. But, he spoils me too much. He's spending all the money that he's making look like he got me this jacket. And then the other mom would be like, I know you think your son is busy. I think my son, he needs to go to the doctor. He's working too hard.
Yeah. But he just bought me this.
And he can't even go on vacation. He sent me on vacation. He sent me to Hawaii.
Right.
And then another one starts talking and they do that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's so good.
And then your mom comes up. She's like, look, Jamie Foxx.
He's
so busy. He's so busy. He's with Jamie Foxx. I can't even talk to him anymore.
I think things like that where you can like, I guess that's a flex, right? Like I think one of the big events like, I took my dad to was like Washington Capitals event because I do events for them, DJing and photo booths. And it was like an event where you can actually meet the hockey players. Mm-hmm. And it's like super low key. Only X amount of people can go to this thing. Mm-hmm. They paid a certain amount, but they gave me like +2. So like, being able to like,
get these perks and stuff, right?
Right, exactly. And they're just like, this is all from DJing, like making, meeting people and building your connections. And, it's definitely dope.
So as your kids are getting older and stuff,
right?
What do you think, like when you look back in the past 20 years of your DJ career, right?
Right.
And you kind of like, I probably had some time to like kind of analyze it and reflect upon it.
Right.
And you have these 3 kids. I'm sure they're all 3 different personalities,
right.
3 different, they're all acting different and they probably go 3 different ways and directions and where they want to do with their lives. When you think about it, and knowing that you'll have a hand in shaping their, how they grow up and whatnot.
Right.
How do you have an idea of like kind of like what you want to? I don't know how you want to guide them a little bit, and so they don't make some of the same mistakes as you do, or you don't really have a plan. I don't
really have a plan. I leave that to my wife.
Okay.
She's
the mastermind.
She's pretty on point.
Right,
she's been awesome as far as like, supporting me through whatever, the good times, the bad times of DJing. And, she's always been there for me to like, essentially, like I said, help make me certain decisions too. And whether they were good or bad, like with the club, she was there for me. Like, she's definitely going to be the one that'll like steer them the right way. The kids love the mom. Obviously, they love me, but it's definitely one of those things where like I'm supportive of whatever they want to get into. Because for me, taking the DJ route was definitely like a big decision, and it's worked out for me. So as long as they're happy, I'm happy.
All right, shout out to your wife.
Right. No, she's awesome. If you guys ever met her, like she's awesome.
It's good. It's good to have that, that what do you call it?
A partner, like a partner that's with you through the good and bad.
Well, to have someone to have your back throughout the way. You know what I mean? Yeah, support
Right.
system. That's exactly what I was trying to out.
No, it's okay. I feel like for a lot of things you can't do it on your own.
Yeah. A lot of us are single though, and we're doing it on our own.
Trying.
Right. Well, I mean, like even for like the podcast, like if it was just one of you guys, it might be completely
See,
different.
I don't think if I was married with kids, I would have never done the podcast.
Right.
I think my focus is I think you and I are we're similar, but we're different.
Right.
So I think we overwork ourselves, both you and I.
Right.
But I invest my time into maybe more like a different outlet of like, well, I don't care about the money that's going to come in. Whereas you're looking at the money. You're kind of like, I can't waste my time if it's not going to have a return.
Right.
Whereas I have the luxury to say, I'll put in, 6 months to 8 months and see what I build and what it becomes. Does that make sense a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, in the end.
But I think if I had kids and a wife,
You'd
oh my
be
God,
hustling more.
I would be relentless.
Right.
Like everything would have to make,
Kids are not cheap.
everything would have to have a return.
Like, I mean, when I go to when I run errands, go to the grocery store, a lot of stuff I buy is for the kids.
Yeah.
Live your life, guys.
That sounded depressing.
Live your life.
Are you telling us not to have kids or to get married?
Do whatever you want, whatever makes you happy.
Or maybe just one.
Right.
It's a good way to end this episode.
Yeah, no.
Live your life.
Live your life.
Live your life, guys. Live your life. Be happy.
If it's without kids or a wife, so be it.
Just live it.
Yeah.
Live it up.
All right. Well, Phlipz, really good to have you here, man.
Appreciate
Thank you,
bro.
bro.
I'm sorry if I went on too much about photo booths and stuff.
Yo, if anyone learned anything from this, that's all that matters.
I mean, I learned about photo booths.
Right.
I just think it's interesting. You know what I mean? It's just there's this whole other industry that I don't really know too much about.
Right.
But there's so many outlets to make money off of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that I'm happy you guys got me on the show, because there's definitely, like you said, there's so many different ways you can make money if DJing falls off, if the whole entertainment industry falls off, then we're just done, but there's always going to be different ways to like grow your brand, grow your businesses.
Well, I've always respected wedding DJs because the few weddings that I've had to do, I had to be super calculated.
Right.
And it's like I always thought like, oh man, if I put together a game plan and I structured everything,
right,
I would have everything. It would go so smoothly. But those things, obviously, things like that take months or years to perfect.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think what's good right now is that a lot of the couples want club DJs.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of DJs that will subcontract literally everything, like as far as like the sound, mics and everything, and they just come in and DJ.
So can you help us start the R.O.A.D podcast wedding DJ service? I feel like we could do some good shit here.
We could.
You really
You
could.
think so? A 4-man team? There are a lot of weddings happen in Vegas, right?
All the time.
Hell yeah.
Who's the number one
the
wedding
time.
DJ in Vegas? Do you know?
That's a great question.
You guys
I'm
don't
not
know?
sure.
How do you guys not
Podcast.
know?
I don't know. I don't
Who
hear
is
about
it?
I
You
don't
know?
hear about it.
I don't know.
There's a couple industries. There's a couple industries where DJs are involved that we haven't really delved into.
Right.
And I think this is the first year we've delved into wedding DJs.
Okay.
And there's another one that I want to delve into, which is the strip club DJs.
Right.
That's another one.
But it's strip club DJs in Vegas versus LA to Atlanta, Miami, New York,
Houston.
all different.
Really?
Yeah, so like it's different rules, different ways of hustling,
Protocols. Yeah.
everything. So it's like I want to
You
delve
need to
into
get them
that.
on now.
Huh?
You need to get them on now.
I need to get them on, but I want a little more. I want some more wedding DJs because for the past few years.
Yeah, we have
People are like, how come you not getting no wedding DJs?
Well,
on?
that's why I'm happy I'm on, because I
Yeah.
was like, I feel like I'm like the good crossover.
Yeah, because
club
you have
guy.
a club background.
'Cause
Right.
because
I mean,
all-
my whole life was clubs. So, but now, obviously there's been a pivot.
So
So,
people want the club DJ because they want that club energy and club
Right.
style at their wedding.
I mean, I think you have and I think you have a lot of DJs that are probably, even the bigger names you've had that might be thinking like, man, What else can I do? You know what I mean? So when you have someone that comes on and talks like it's not as hard as you think it is, pause, that you can definitely pivot to something else and still do what you're doing.
So what are just really quick before we end this?
No worries.
What are the elements of being the wedding DJ? You got to be a good host.
Yeah, you can be an MC. You can hire an MC.
Hire MC.
Right.
Okay. And then what else is there?
Having the right equipment.
The equipment.
Yeah, invest in the right equipment.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, what?
I would say, what's the equipment you use now, just for the sake of it?
I have a mix of a lot of stuff.
I mean, I don't want to go to the equipment.
Okay,
It's
cool.
obvious. It's like
That's okay.
lighting,
Yeah.
controller.
Right.
I got the controller, SRT 1000. I don't want
It's the best one.
No.
You definitely want the right equipment. I mean,
And so, all right, so you need a host. You need to be a good host.
yeah.
You need the right equipment, right? The more bells and whistles, the more
Right.
you can you can charge. The more the bells and whistles.
I would say so. Yeah.
Okay, and then you need a good marketing sales aspect as well, or is it mostly word of mouth? You need to kill
For
it.
me, it has definitely been a lot of word of mouth. I mean, I
Right.
did some marketing, but then now I'm just like I said, if I can work less, would make more.
And am I missing anything?
I would say a little bit of OCD.
OCD meaning what?
Like, just you got to be on point. I mean, it's someone's big day, so you want to definitely not mess up.
You need to put like some care.
Right.
Yeah. Into everything. Intention. There needs to be a thoughtful intention.
A lot of attention, and honestly, be a frifriendly person. 'Cause
Right.
you're working with a lot of different people too at the same time.
I'm asking this, right? Because
No, however I can help you guys, I don't,
because I'm in my mind.
you should be
I'm
thinking about
trying to
it.
break down if R.O.A.D was a wedding crew, DJ crew, like what positions people
Right.
would play.
You can have Jamie go in, set up everything ahead of time.
Yep. The Mexican.
James the setup guy.
Have
I'm the
D Miles DJing. You can be the MC.
No, I wouldn't be.
Deva
that.
could be the photo booth attendant.
D Miles would be the host,
the host.
Okay, there
yeah.
you go.
and he would also be the person that they go to when something was wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Never would be
Photo booth attendant.
Never could DJ.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're the photo booth guy.
Okay, Crooked could be the photo booth attendant.
You're more anal about the camera angles and shit here.
No. And
Because
then
you can crack jokes too with the photo booth attendant.
Yeah.
When you're that person, it's fun.
And then I would be like sales and like negotiation, marketing, and
Oh,
delegation.
there you go.
So I stay home while you guys are out doing this shit.
Fucking asshole. Who's running our photo booth? Oh, me after I
And how
set
much
up.
do we charge? Because we need the cryo, we need everything.
Right.
Oh, God, at least
We need all
5K,
that
at
shit.
least 5K.
We need the LED screens.
Yeah.
But you're out here.
Yeah.
You can all honestly too just outsource it because you're in Vegas and it's all out here.
Yeah.
Right.
I think 10K, at least 10K.
Minimum.
That'd be
Minimum
crazy.
10K.
You probably could get that too just because of who you guys are.
Exactly.
Crazy wedding.
I'm going to get a cool
Doing it.
50 from that.
What are we going to call it?
Road
On
podcast.
the
Road Podcast
wedding.
Wedding Crew?
Right.
Yeah.
We changed the name a little
The
bit.
Road
no?
Wedding Crew.
Road
wedding.
wedding crew.
Road Wedding Crew.
The wedding's on the road. I don't know.
You give us a name because you thought of what? Photo shoot
shoot
fresh?
You got that from Jay-Z.
You know what? When you post this, you should ask the chat or your the comments.
Well, yeah, they're going to come up with something.
The,
Right.
the
Don't
R- RWC.
I'm not fucking around either. I'm starting this wedding shit.
That's a good division.
Phlipz, for real. Thank you for planting the
Appreciate you,
seed
brother.
for the Road Wedding Crew.
Yes.
Oh, I appreciate it.
I think that's our name, RWC, right?
Yeah,
Road
That's
Wedding
what
Crew.
he came
yeah.
up with.
We want RWC. They're the best. 5 stars on Yelp.
Sound like a
No, I'm
burrito.
serious. If it's a reason why like you guys will get an extra $1,000 a night because you guys are a team now and you're charging $4,000 for a wedding.
$1,000. I'm being
4,000.
5
I'm
years
saying
in.
you're, I'm saying
5
you're
years
charging
in, man.
$4,000. Then you guys split it. I don't know, whatever you guys charge.
No,
but
we
you know
doing
what I
10
mean?
I think
I'd say
10,000.
we-
Yeah,
about
okay, there you go.
8.
Well, whatever you guys want to charge, but then that's a Saturday night. That's probably more than what you're making at a whatever club or whatever.
I don't know.
But we can do it in the day.
I don't know how much you guys make it.
We can do it in the daytime.
Cash
Right.
only. Cash
And then by
only.
8 o'clock, we be done. And then we can do our gigs at night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cash
I don't
on.
know how much you guys make. So
We'll see what happens.
WRC
But
coming
no.
to a wedding near you.
Flips, thanks for coming through, man. And you know what? It's good to see you, and it's good to hear just what you're doing with your businesses now after the pandemic, and you're thinking of family and your health and everything first.
right.
So
Thank you for having me.
No, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Yo, man, let's give it up for Flips, man.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
If you want to watch more episodes from R.O.A.D Podcast, click either links on the left or the right. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page and get updated on new uploads throughout the week. Peace.